Hi, everyone. It's Carol here, the founder of the Sleep Success Academy. I'm here today with Arlene Nelson. Arlene is a colleague and a friend, and we were in a group Zoom call the other day, and she talked about how she's having a hard time setting a morning routine, how she feels guilty getting out of bed in the morning. Now that she's retired, Arlene, you feel like you have nothing to get up for, or tell us a little bit about this guilt that you feel getting up in the morning.
Well, I still have this urgency that I have to get out of bed and do something. Doesn't matter what it is. I need to do something. I have to, and I still feel like I have someone that I need to please, but there is no one but me. So then sometimes my morning gets away and then I feel more guilty.
Feel guilty that the morning got away. How intense is that guilt when you think of a morning where your morning just got away from you and you didn't do something for someone?
I would say that's about a 6.
About a 6. Do you feel it anywhere in your body when you think of that guilt?
Oh yeah, the anxiety in my chest. It's definitely there.
Anxiety
Not
in the
so
chest.
much in the moment, but I know what it feels like to do that, because I know if I don't get out of bed or if I just lay there, then I and I have tons of things to do, but I never know where to start or where to start or which one to do. And so anyway, I end up kind of wasting time.
And so when's the last time you did this, that you stayed in bed knowing you had all these things to do, but you chose to stay in bed and having this anxiety show up in your chest as you're laying there?
Probably a couple of times last week.
Okay, just as recent as last week. Okay, let's start tapping there and let's just see what happens as we go. So no, you can change my words, follow along, but if anything I say that doesn't resonate, you've seen me tapping enough to know that you can change and have permission to correct me.
Right.
All right, so even though, just remembering to try to get out of bed last week.
Just remembering trying to get out of bed last week.
Yeah, feeling this anxiety in my chest.
I feel this anxiety in my chest.
Because I was just laying there.
I have
so many things to do. And I don't know where to start. So I choose to lay in my bed instead.
So I just choose to lay in bed instead.
I deeply and completely accept who I am.
And I deeply and completely accept who I am.
And even though.
I'm sorry, I missed that one.
Even though.
Just
thinking about laying in my bed last week. Not knowing where to start with my task. Feeling this anxiety in my chest. I deeply and completely accept who I am. And even though. I just laid there. Feeling guilty because I wasn't getting out of bed to do something. It's showing up as anxiety in my chest. And I choose to love and accept myself anyway. All right. This anxiety in my chest. This anxiety in my chest. Choosing to just lay in my bed and not get up. Feeling all this anxiety in my chest. Yeah. Feeling this urgency to do something. But choosing to lay down instead. Causing all this anxiety in my chest. Causing all this anxiety in my chest. Take a breath. Tuning into that anxiety in your chest. What are you noticing with it?
Well, the first thing that came up through this round of tapping was, wonder if the
Hmm.
cat's did empty. I mean, then I feel guilty. Oh, I got to get up and go feed the cat. And I always try to keep a little bit in there, but I know when she steps on the bed, jumps on the bed, either something's up or she's just lonely. Who knows? But
Hmm. And
that's
so
what
what
came to
that's what came to mind. Oh, the cat might need me, and I'm choosing to lay in bed instead.
exactly. I am.
So yeah, what's the emotion that comes up with that?
Um, that's sad. Sad for the kitty.
Okay. 0 to a 10 on the sadness right now.
Um, right now that's about a 5.
That's fine. And so sad for the kitty because.
Sad for the kitty because what if she has no food? How long has
Mm,
she had food? How awful I am.
yeah.
So then I drag myself out of bed. I
No.
go,
Even though
even though
I'm now feeling this sadness
I'm now feeling this sadness
because I'm ignoring my cat in the morning,
because I'm ignoring my cat in the morning.
feeling like I'm an awful person for not making sure she's got food.
Feeling like I'm an awful person for making sure she's got food.
Yeah, I acknowledge that this is how I'm feeling in this moment.
Acknowledge that this is how I'm feeling in this moment,
So even though
even though
I now have this sadness coming up,
now have this sadness coming up.
what if my cat doesn't have food?
What if my cat doesn't have food?
And I'm choosing to lay here instead of checking on my
And I
cat.
choose instead of checking on her.
What an awful person I am.
What an awful person I am.
I acknowledge that this is how I feel.
I acknowledge this is how I feel.
Yeah. I want to ask you when we say that, and what an awful person I am. How true does that feel in this moment for you?
Um, a little bit true.
A little bit true.
Seriously, nine out of 10 times I go downstairs and she has food in her dish. And cats, when there's half of it gone, think it's empty. So
It's true. That's why we have an automatic feeder for our cat. We know it's always going to have food 4 times a day.
exactly, she usually has it. But I still have that feeling. I just think,
So,
oh,
yeah,
poor baby.
poor baby. And so I want to dig deeper into that feeling because we know that that feeling right now is I feel like an awful person because I haven't gotten out of bed to feed my cat. Is how it's showing up today. I wonder what's underneath that. Why would that make you feel like an awful person? Oh,
What comes to mind is neglect.
neglect.
And it's not only neglect for the cat, but neglect for me.
There we go. Okay, let's keep tapping as you say that. Neglect for you in what way? How's that showing up?
Neglect for me, and probably the self-care part, because I want to, I should get out of bed and do my exercises for my knee every morning, but I choose to lay there instead. But most mornings, I do the exercises whatever time I get up anyway, but it's like, could be done so much earlier in the morning. And it certainly could help that regulate that nervous system and get the energy back up.
Right. And so now it's a feeling of neglect towards myself. I'm choosing to lay in bed instead of taking care of myself.
Yes, actually, yes, exactly what it is. Yeah, I feel pretty strong about that. Saying
Okay.
that.
And so how could we start changing that for you that you could start seeing yourself as somebody who's important enough to get out of bed for yourself, not for anybody else, but for yourself? What would that look like if you decided to get out of bed for yourself so you could do your exercises?
I think it's the wake up mindset.
Mhm.
I could start with that, because if I get up and do my exercises, that it is much more healthy for me.
Yeah.
It's for my own health and my own safety, because then I'd be able to, I'd be more mobile and less pain and all that type of
Yeah.
thing. It's, there's a string of stuff there coming up, that,
Yeah. If
and
I chose to get out of bed, all these positive things would happen in my life.
exactly. And the thing is, yeah, interesting. Something came up, and then
Yeah.
there's a whole list of things that, and it's time management too,
Mm-hmm.
that's time management, because seriously, one of the routines I do in the morning is like 15 minutes tops, and I'm energized and I feel really good.
All right.
um,
So let's explore, what time do you want to get out of bed? So what would be a reasonable good time for you to get out of bed if you were to set up this morning routine of getting out of bed at the same time to be consistent?
what comes to me right away is between 7 and 7:30,
Okay.
especially in
And
the summer.
yeah, what time are you getting out of bed now?
um Maybe around 9, 10.
Okay. And so
Get
just a
early.
little bit of education here as you start wanting to set your bedtime or your wake up time from 7 to 7:30. We're going to calculate 8 hours from that. So we want you to go to bed right around 11 p.m.
Yeah.
But if you're not used to going to bed at 11 p.m. right now, there's going to be an adjustment period where your circadian rhythm has to reset itself so that the melatonin gets released in your body for 11 p.m. So there's a YouTube video on that, on how melatonin works. So people can go watch that. So as this week you start wanting to reset your sleep schedule to be able to get out of bed between 7 and 7:30, be aware that it might be hard to fall asleep for a few nights because we have to reset the circadian rhythm. That makes sense?
Yes, it does.
Right.
And the thing
And
is, I go to bed earlier than that, but I just don't sleep. So maybe I'm going to bed too early.
You're going to bed too early, and you're not allowing for your body to have enough hours awake to actually build the sleep pressure that it needs to fall asleep.
Okay. So the thing is, I'm going to bed earlier than that, but I may not get to sleep till midnight or 1, because I either read or I watch my iPad or.
Okay. And there's another piece of education here. It's going to be a good video for people because, as you see, Arlene is wanting to get out of bed and feel productive in the morning. So we're looking at some of the behaviors that she's doing that is stopping that from happening. And so our bed should only be used for two things: sleep and sex. Everything else we shouldn't be doing in the bed. And that's hard for us because we want to read our iPads in there. We want to watch TV in our bedroom. And if you're a good sleeper and you don't struggle with sleep, that's okay. But when you're struggling with sleep and trying to adjust your sleep schedule, what's happening when you go to bed too early and you're in there watching TV or playing on your phone, you're creating an association with your bed that it's a place to stay awake. It's not a place to go to sleep. And so now your brain is thinking, oh, she's in bed, but this is not where we sleep. It's okay to worry here. It's okay to play games on the iPad. It's okay to watch TV here. So your body and your brain doesn't know that when you go to bed, you should go to sleep. And so there's that behavior that we have to kind of work on, and you kind of choose. So I go to bed half hour before my bedtime and I do my meditation and I journal my gratitudes and I have my routine. But it's like just like a little kid, right? So when they're babies, you rock them, you give them a bottle, you give them their bath, you do whatever, you put them in the crib, they fall asleep because their brain and body knows it's time to go to sleep. Right. We have to treat ourselves like that little kid. We have to create that routine that our body goes, okay, when I go to the bedroom, I know that within half an hour, I'm going to go to sleep. Right. So what are you thinking? I can see the look on your face going,
lot.
Yeah.
I know. So I was doing this meditation routine that
Right.
it was supposed to be played when you're falling asleep. And honestly, I would do a bit of yoga before that. And honestly, 9 times out of 10, I would fall asleep way before that video, way before that meditation ended, which was
Yeah.
fine. You know, he said
Right.
that's fine. And I was okay with that. But then I quit doing that as well. I took the iPad back and then I was watching that
Right.
and then I was reading
And that is so easy to do when what we uncovered today is I'm neglecting myself and I'm neglecting my self-care.
yeah.
All right. So with everything we talked about right now, what are you thinking? What do you want to change? So we're going to do these videos probably once a week for a few weeks until you get into a scheduled morning routine that you want. But what do you see is the first thing you need to change, knowing that we can't change everything at once? The amygdala won't let us change everything at once. It'll actually put the brakes on and say, too big of a goal. What would be a goal that you want to work towards for the next week with everything we've talked about today?
I don't know if to admit to anything right now.
And that's okay. That's a goal too, right? I can't commit to anything right now, but I'm going to think on what Carol just said.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to journal maybe on this, and I'm going to like re-listen to this and decide like, wow, like that's a lot of information to digest. We didn't know that this is where the tapping session was going to go, because this is how it works in a session. We started tapping on the guilt, but then there's behaviors that have to be changed, right? So
that's what I love about this procedure.
Yeah.
You never know where it's going to go. It's always a surprise. The one thing that's coming to mind right now in the moment is to write in my gratitude journal.
Okay.
Before I go to sleep. And I might add 2 things in there, write in the gratitude journal and then go back to doing the meditation again.
Okay.
So that's all I'm going to do.
Well, it's a lot. Those are 2 big things. And so you're going to start doing your gratitude journal in the evening. You're going to start doing your meditation. How likely are you to do that 0 to a 10? Are you going to follow through with that? Or is there anything that's going to get in your way that will stop you from doing it?
This week, I have company coming tomorrow that's staying over for a couple of days, and then I'm going away for a couple of days. But I'm still going to have my time before I go to sleep.
Right.
So really, is there any reason why I can't? I think the excuse I come up with would be pretty lame.
It's usually how it is.
Not to do it. So, but that's exciting though, because that's an exciting thing. I know there's times when I wrote in my gratitude journal when I was doing it, I would always like, because I always put 5 things in.
Yeah.
And it would be like, I'd have to search for 5 things. But then it's the little things that are so important. Somebody held the door for me. Somebody brought me a cup of coffee, whatever.
And you bring in that energy of gratitude and appreciation, and then you start seeing it everywhere. And so even though it's hard at the beginning to see it, doing it on repetitive like that, all of a sudden is like everywhere. Like today, I've already been grateful for like about 100 things.
Yes, exactly.
Just right, because I constantly do the gratitudes and live in that energy of gratitude and appreciation. There's moments I'm not, but I keep trying to get back. So this is a really good way for you to start getting back to that gratitude. All right, so we're going to end here. But before we do that, I want to do kind of a closing round. Because we didn't really work on the guilt of getting out of bed, because now we've just uncovered things that you have to work on first. And our next session will be interesting to see how you're thinking about your going to bed and your wake up time different. So, right.
Interesting. That will be a good point, because I'm already worried about, I have to get up and leave Thursday morning. Am I going to be able to sleep Wednesday night?
Right.
I'm worried about that. I'm setting myself up for that, the anxiety on that already.
Anxiety. And you being a practitioner, you can do the tapping on that worry before bed and not let it take control, right? So you know how to do that on your own. But just right now, as we've had this conversation, what are you feeling? Is there any sense of hope or excitement or?
Oh, yes, I'm excited. I'm excited to definitely write in my journal tonight. It's like, come on, you know what? Carol chose me. She's seen something there that we can
Right?
work on and hopefully help people in the world, you know?
Right. So right there, that's the gratitude. So let's do a round of celebration tapping. I'm going to add some words. You add some words. We're just going to make this because I always like to end with celebration or gratitude tapping because we know once we start elevating that energy, how it changes our life. So, all right. So even though I didn't get a whole lot of tapping done today,
I didn't get a whole lot of tapping done today,
but I had a lot of good information given my way.
but I have a lot of good information come up. Stuff that I didn't expect, of course, but it did.
Right, it did.
I'm grateful for that.
Grateful. And now I have a new direction.
Now I have a new direction.
Yeah. And even though I haven't solved my waking up in the morning issues yet.
I haven't solved my waking up in the morning issues yet.
Yeah, so much came up today.
So much came up today.
And I am grateful for this work.
And I'm grateful for this work.
All right. So you do the next one. So even though
I am so grateful for the opportunity for me to even start with one, or like me, I have to maybe 2 or 3 things all the time, but I stuck to 2. I'm proud of that. And I have to report back on this. There's accountability here that I have to come back for. That's exciting. I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see next time and say, hey, I did this. Or else.
Yeah, it's exciting to have accountability.
Yes, it is exciting to have accountability.
It's exciting to take care of ourselves.
It's exciting to take care of ourselves, myself,
and to know that it's possible for me.
And my cat.
And your cat. Yes, he's going to benefit from this as well. Yeah. Choosing to put myself first.
Choosing to put myself first.
And then choosing to put my cat second.
My cat second. She's getting used to me working on her points now. I've been doing EFT with her. She's getting used to it.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, EFT can be used in so many ways, right? And even on our animals.
Yeah. So I have borrowing benefits from that.
Yeah. Oh, this has been amazing, Arlene. What a great start to your new journey that I'm going to help you with.
I'm excited to do this. I'm so grateful to you and for trying that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So everybody, just keep checking in because these videos are going to keep going as I work with Arlene. I really love doing these sessions, Arlene, because like you said, we get to show other people what it could be like in a tapping session, how we could then start uncovering what is underneath us feeling neglected or neglecting ourselves, and how can we start slowly making changes. And yes, you only pick 2 things, which people tend to want to change everything at once, and you can't. Right? Because when we try to change everything, what happens? It backfires and we do nothing. So thank you very much for today, everybody. I will see you in the next video when we check on Arlene's progress. Bye.